Dear children, good morning. I hope all of you are fine. Last class we discussed how did the British they reached India and for what purpose. Okay. Then after that you completed the notes of that particular part and almost all students they sent the note to me. Okay, everyone did it well. Thank you. Next we can start the second part of this lesson. So first we discussed there was a competition between the different European companies as well as the local rulers for getting the goods from India with cheap rate, and this competition that led to the conflict. Next we wanted to discuss how did the English East India Company begin trade in Bengal. Okay, for trade purpose they reached India, and the first English factory it was set up at Surat in Gujarat, and later in 1651 they started the factory in Bengal on the banks of the river Hooghly in West Bengal. Okay, and then through this factory they started the trade relation with the European companies, and the traders of these factories they were known as factors. Who were known as factors? The company traders. Okay, they were known as the factors. And then the factory it had a warehouse and offices. What is meant by warehouse? That is for collecting the items or goods from India like the spices, silk and cotton. They collected the goods and stored the goods in this warehouse and they exported. Okay, then along with this warehouse there was an offices also. Then these officers, the company officials, they sat together and they discussed the matters relating to the trade. Then next, when the trade expanded, they invited more and more traders as well as the merchants from England to India, and they started to settle around this factory. Okay, then the company they began building a fort around the settlement in 1696. Okay, the company, East India Company, they began building a fort around the settlement in 1696. The next year, here for getting more and more power in India, what did they do? They influenced the Mughal officials. When the East India Company reached in India, that time India was ruling by the Mughal emperors. Okay, they influenced the Mughal emperors or bribed the Mughal official by giving the money, more and more money they gave to them, and they asked to get the semindari rights over 3 villages, and one of the village Calicut. What is that? Calicut. Calicut, then the present day Kolkata, the capital of West Bengal. Okay, they got the semindari rights. What is meant by semindari rights? Then semindari rights means ownership of the lands of these 3 villages they got. How did they get? That is by influencing the Mughal officials. Okay. Then Aurangzeb, he issued a farman. Then what is meant by farman? That was a royal edict. Through this royal edict, Aurangzeb, the last powerful Mughal emperor, he granted the certain right to East India Company to continue the trade relation with India without paying any duties or without paying any taxes. Once again, then as per the farman or royal order issued by Aurangzeb, the East India Company they got the power to make trade relation with India without paying any taxes. But the same time the company official they started to do the side business. Okay, and when they were doing the side business, for that also they did not pay the tax. So the Nawabs became so furious of this. By doing that, by doing that, the revenue of the Bengal or the revenue of the Nawabs that was reduced. So the Bengal Nawab, that Murshid Quli Khan, he strongly protested against this. Why did he protest? Because the company officials, when they were doing the private trade, that time also they did not pay the taxes. But as per the Fairman, only the East India Company allowed to do the trade without taxes. This was misused by the company officials also. Then next, trade led to battles. Okay, and then here the conflict between the company and the Nawabs of Bengal. First we discussed Murshid Quli Khan. He was so angry with this reduction of revenue. So he started protest against the East India Company. Following by Murshid Quli Khan, Ali Vardi Khan and Siraj Dawla, they were Nawabs of Bengal. Okay. Then here these Bengal Nawabs, they were not ready to give certain concession to the British or East India Company. Please listen. They refused to grant the concession to the company as well as demands of large tributes for right to trade. Here East India Company, they asked the Bengal Nawab to give more and more concession to the East India Company and a large tributes, vast areas they wanted. For what purpose? For trade purpose. But the Bengal Nawabs, they were not ready to give this. The next one, the same time they asked the right to mint the coins. Okay, they asked the right to mint the coins. That was also not allowed by the Nawabs, and they stopped the Nawabs. They stopped East India Company from extending its fortification, did not allow them to establish or to settle more and more forts in India. Okay, please see the picture. Murshid Quli Khan, Ali Vardi Khan and Siraj Dawla, the three powerful Nawabs. Okay, then next here the Nawab, they accusing that. Okay, why did they refuse? Why they were not allowing them to write to mint the coins, or why didn't they give more and more concession? Why? Because they accused that the company of deceit, that East India Company, they were deceiving or they were cheating the Nawabs. The same time, this caused for losing the huge amounts of the revenue. Okay, and undermining the authority of the Nawab, not giving any respect to the Nawab, and the company refused to pay the taxes and wrote disrespectful letters and trying to humiliate the Nawab and his official. Once again listen here, why did they refuse to give certain concession? Nawab accusing the company of deceit, then losing the huge amounts of revenue. When the officials were not ready to pay the taxes, that time that caused for reducing the income of the Nawabs and undermining the authority of the Nawab, not giving any respect to the Nawab's power. Then at the same time the company refused to pay the taxes and wrote disrespectful letters and trying to humiliate the Nawab and his official. Because of this reason, they did not give or they refused the demands of the East India Company. Next, arguments of the company. East India Company, they argued that Indian local officials, they were following the unjust demands. Then what were the unjust demands? Not allowing them to mint the coins, as well as they were asking to pay the duties. Then so this was not possible for the East India Company to expand the trade in India, or that caused for the destruction of the trade, or that ruined the trade of the East India Company. And then they argued the development of the trade or expansion of trade in India, that was possible if the local officials removed the duties and they enlarged settlements. and buy up the villages. They wanted to get the more and more villages, ownership of more and more villages, and to rebuild its forts. Then only they were able to expand the trade in India. And so there was a conflict between the Nawabs and English East India Company. That conflict led to battle, and the first battle, that was the Battle of Plassey in 1757, that we can discuss in the next class. Thank you. I hope all of you understood this class. Any doubt will be there, please you can contact me, and I will send the questions. So please refer the points and write down the notes. Okay.